Hello and welcome to Raymies Garage. Today we've got a wee job on the Range Rover to look at a problem that quite a lot of these cars seem to encounter, which is the airbag light. So many people are writing on forums and things like that the airbag light doesn't go out when you move the seat. That's this light here, down there. That one should go out, which it did. A lot of them won't, so sometimes if you actually move the seat, which I'm doing now, or trying to do now, the airbag light will come on, and that's due to the cables underneath the seat being stretched. This one's not coming on at all. So it's a pity it didn't come on. Not that I wanted to come on, but that's where the problem arises. So what you read online is that there are two airbag lights, or airbag connections. There's one down here for the seat belt retainer, and there's one in the back in here. And what you'll read is that as the seat's moving back and forward, it's stretching these cables, thus bringing the airbag light on. But I've done a bit of research on that, and I'm not 100% sure that's the actual case, because when you actually look down and move the seat, it's quite difficult to see, obviously, because it's dark, but there's only one cable, or two sets of cables, that actually move back and forward. And the cables, which is in here and in here, don't actually move that much. But anyway, we'll do that and have a wee look. I do have the cables to replace these cables. They're supposed to be a wee bit longer, and we'll get that stripped out. We'll try and get the seat out, and we'll have a go, see what it's like. Right, back to the old conventional way, undoing that. Us and just get something to put under that. Right, so that'll keep that from making contact, and that'll allow the airbags to discharge a wee bit. So what we need to do is take the seat out. That's my plan. So it's only held in with 4 bolts. There's one here and one here, and there's 2 at the front, and that's that one back. I'll probably have to move that again. I've really thought of that actually. I should actually have undone the bolts first, then taken the power off the battery. What an idiot. So these plastic things should slap off here, like so. Like that, and there's your reverse Torx. So, right, we'll get them out, get them slackened, and I'll move the seat forward, get the other one slackened, and we'll just let it sit for 10 minutes. So this is an E12 Torx bit. And the other one around this side. That should lift out there now. 1 and 2. And I'll now go and stick the battery back on, move it to the front. Right, we're at these 2 at the back, same size of E-Torx. This one, and keep them in there. So the chair should move, and we'll get that tilted back. Maybe do that now. Let's see. Oh, it's hit the steering wheel, so I need to move it. Let's see that again. Yeah. sure we had bothered with this with Apprentice Pat's old L322, where we moved the chair whilst it was unbolted, and it had all sorts of problems for us, but this seems to be back in line. Yeah, screws were all messed up, all in there. We had to take it all apart. Let's see now. Yeah, so that's going to miss that. So we'll get the battery back off again and see if we can manoeuvre that out. And I'll try and see if I can push this back like so and disconnect these connections under here. So let me go and get a torch. So these are the cables that's into this kind of main wiring harness here, and that was the one I kind of fixed. Well, it doesn't look really fixed now, but it was fixed at the time. So I'm just going to disconnect these. There's a wee red tab in that one. Push up, that one comes out. See the wee red tab's missing in that one. A wee screwdriver, a wee tiny pry driver. There you go. And this one over here. Feels a bit tight, that one. Let's move you guys over a bit. Oh, there you go. And there's another one. And there's this connector here. Just that bit there. That's just a wire. So that's what we've got for the whole wire loom. 1, 2, 3, or 5 different connectors. And now we need to try and wrestle this seat out. We're on my own, because Apprentice Pat's not here. Right, okay, I'll try and see if I can manage that, because they're pretty heavy seats. Right, of course, I stupidly forgot trying to take the seat out that it's actually connected with the seat belt here. And I think this is the actual airbag, and this is one of the connectors we're going to change. So I'm going to try and take that off. No, hold on a second. That's when the vehicle hits something, it pulls that cable to pull the seat belt tight. So name escapes me now, but I can't remember the name of that. So that wee cover's on there, but it's a tensioner, it pulls that cable, tightens up. Just worried that cable might come off there, so I should have done this when the seat was in. My fault. Oh, it's slacker than I thought it would be. I don't want it to bang on me. That's interesting. I'm just taking my time with this restraint system. Okay, so there we have we kind of captive part there, and what I need to do is just to unplug that. That comes out, if I remember correctly. I think they get squeezed in. Looks like it. Squeezes in at both ends. No. Oh god. Oh, there we go. So it's a wee squeeze on there, and that's one of the cables, as I say, we're going to try and replace, because it apparently stretches, but it looks as if there's a wee grommet in there holding that into position. So let's get the seat out. It's a wee bit of a struggle there to get it into that position, but we'll get it out, get it upside down, and have a look where these cables are. Right, so got it out. A lot easier to work on up here, and this is the connector that I tried to repair. I think this wee part here is damaged. I think it's supposed to slide on there, but it was dangling down, and when I fixed that, the light went off. The airbag light didn't come back on. It hasn't came, so probably shouldn't have touched this, but hey ho. and you've probably seen in my previous video, you'll notice that there's marks along here. It looks as if it's been catching on something when it's maybe at its lowest position. But anyway, so the one so here is this cable here. It's got a wee Christmas tree connector there. That comes round here and gets into that wiring loom there, down into here. So, and probably goes to one of these connectors, either that one or that one. So we need to unravel that. I should have other stuff to fix that again, which is fine. And the other one is up in behind here, so we'll need to get the back of the seat off. So these wee straps to start with, and I'll get my bits and pieces off. I think these just kind of pop out like that. Take that off. It looks as if it's nearly off anyway. Like that. I'll pop that bit out there. And I think that should be able to come off. There we go. It's as simple as that. A lot easier when it's out the car, that's for sure. Now the other one is up here somewhere, so I'll need to get some of this stuff off. I think these things just clip in here like that. Just a bit tight. I'm trying to do it with one hand. So that's Peltier cell for your heated and cooled seats, and these lines are for your massage seats, the valves and stuff like that. So never mind all that, I'll try and get this stuff off and have a look at that cable to see where it's going to. Oh yeah, there's a stud in there. Get that out. Right, okay. Let's get the camera on a mount so I can use my two hands. This plastic stopper off. That takes that. Now, that one. That one. I think there's a wee tiny one here, or a smallerish one. So that takes that off. Let's lift up one more here. So you can see these are just wee hooks that are hooking on inside there. I'll get the camera up here now. So I've just taken that off, and if you just pull that back, there's the cable in there. So we need to follow that. So if you can see that's just sitting in there, that's not good, is it? I wonder if there was a wee grommet in here to hold that, but not good. I'll try and take that off. Again, one hand. Just let me see now. What's that? And then it just pushes off now. Okay. Now, I need to follow this cable. There's a wee Christmas tree in there. That's one of the cable ones. Anyway, let's get the right tool for the right job, Raymond. There you go. And find out where this cable is going to. This is where we're at. We've pulled that wee cable out for the seatbelt tensioner. I've just moved these cables out the road. I've managed to get this off. This part here literally just falls off there. Pulled some of these out, and there's our cable. It goes into two parts. This looks like the ambient lighting, or maybe not. It's going into one of these wee airbags. That's our cable there, I need to replace. So following that, it's going into this wire loom here, and I imagine it's going to go right down into one of these plugs. So I'll have to take all this off, bugger, and redo that. It's a bit of a bigger job than I thought, but hey ho, it's easier when it's out. So yeah, I could probably get that whole cable out here, maybe not so much in there. Let's unplug that. That's like the seat module, so I'm not sure what that plugs into. Look for another connector, maybe I'd be able to take that off. I'm just trying to get the wire out to make it easier to work with. I could even probably just take that wee tyre wrap off here, that wee Christmas tree. That looks another one here. But let me try and get the cable out, then we'll start unwrapping it. So after having an overlook of these wiring harnesses, I'm not convinced that these cables, or this cable up here, is actually the problem. Because the problem is, when the chair's moving back and forward, so when you move the chair, the only thing it's moving is the cables on the car. So these cables here. These are the only cables that are moving back and forward as you move the seat. So I'm struggling to understand how this cable here, which goes into the seatbelt restraint, it isn't actually moving anywhere. It's the whole seat is moving with that, because these are the runners. Maybe I'm convincing myself of that. I know these runners stay in position. These two parts, so these are the anchor points, so they stay in position, so the seat's moving on that with this wee motor here pulling it forward. So this whole thing is moving back and forward like that. So how can these wires not have enough cable on them for allowing it to move? Because it's fixed, because they're all in the grommets, although I've taken them all out. They're all fixed. That whole upper part of this chair is moving back and forward, and I'm beginning to think it's these wires that are connected to this in the car that's moving. Because when I did fix this, eventually it stopped. It just didn't move. The light didn't come on at all. So I'm not convinced. I'm really not convinced. That might have been stretching a wee fraction. You can see the tape, or is it the tape that's just not wound on properly? I'm not convinced. But we'll go ahead anyway, and whilst we've got it all out, and we'll make sure that this one is broke. And you can see the reason it's broke. The wee wings are missing from this one, where it slots into the back. So the more I think of this, the more I think I'm not going to bother, because there's the orange or yellow and purple wire, which is the same colour as that wire, so I'm assuming that's going to come right down here, and the other there, into that connector there, and that was a connector that kept falling off in here, if that makes sense. So that's been wobbling about in there. Well, not that, the other part of that. So I think I'm going to, for now, put it back together again. I'm not going to put these cables on, plus the fact that this one here, this cable for the seat belt, is got a black and blue wire, a brown and blue and a blue, and that's that one there, which is a different colour, and that's a different colour, so they two are the same. So yes, so I'm going to put it back together again, and I'm going to make sure that these are strapped up properly. Even though that's broke, I'll need to tie wrap it. Right, let's see if we can get this off. So here's what I've got to. I've put these back on securely. We've made sure that one's nice and solid. All the plugs are all in, they're all solid. We've retaped this wire going to the seat belt tensioner, and it goes in somewhere here, and I've put a new cable grommet up here. Now, reading online about people with this problem, they'll say it's one of these. Now that cable cannot move, so that cannot be moving there, and it cannot move here. That's solid, that's solid, that can't possibly move, as I said earlier, right? That goes up there, I think that actually goes right there. Fix that in a minute. Okay, so this cable can't move. The one at the side, down here, maybe take that back off again, let's see on there. So that cable there, of that connector, there was no wee grommet holding that in position, so I put one in there just to hold that cable in position there. It then routes round here, there's one in here. Now I don't think there was there what? No, I've put that in there to hold it steady. And again, it's going round here, and it's all steady on here. Now, when I took that off, as you'll see earlier, there's plenty of slack in that cable. That cable's not moving. That cable can't move. So I'm just trying to maybe convince myself here that that's not where the problem lies. As I said earlier, I think it lies down here somewhere. So I've not changed the cables. I've got them over there, as you can see. I'm going to put all this back on. I'm going to wait for Pat to come down and just get his view on it. So definitely not convinced that none of these cables are moving. I think that's where the problems are, in here somewhere. These cables or these connectors are touching something, or that's moving about. Because there's the two wires there. Seeing that there's a couple in there like that as well, same colours, but it could be these two, I don't know. I could have probably checked that with my meter just to check continuity going through the cable. Could still do that actually, just might be worthwhile doing that. So in fact, I think that is the connector, because we've got a purple and orange wire, then we've got a blue and a blue and black wire. Hope that's coming out in the video. And we know this one here was the blue and black and blue wire, and that one up there is the orange and purple. So that's what I'm going to try and do. I think I'm going to touch these pins with these connectors just to check continuity, and if is that the cable and maybe that's where the problem is. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to test this. I'm convinced where the error's happening is that these wires connected to this is breaking this connection on here. That's why there's a tie wrap around there. And the tightness of that cable, let's go and have a look at that first. What again, that side part. So this is the bit that's moving. So that wee grommet there goes onto the seat, and these are the cables that are moving. And that's the cable there that's plugging into that, and look how short that is compared to the rest of them. So you've only got that amount of movement to there, and that's the bit. So what's happening is that's tightening up. As it's tightening up, you're maybe going back or whatever, it's pulling that tab off. That's why it's broke, and that's maybe why that's dangling about there, and maybe making the airbag light come on. So look how tight that is. I mean, that's me pulling that tight, look. So it's only got that from that position there, probably to the front here, and I bet you that's going back a wee fraction, pulling that off, breaking that, and then that's maybe just disconnecting. The thing about it is the motors in the seat are powerful enough to break that wee plastic tab on the seat. So when I done this before, if you look past in my previous videos when I had the seat up, I fixed that. I fixed that with a tie wrap, as I've done the now, and that light never ever come on again. Aye. So, what we're going to do, just to validate, so we've got our continuity tester.
Just put it back on, David. Oh, you've got it on.
Get that working. There you go. So I'm going to get this wire here, which is one of these. I'll just connect it onto there like that. If I can. Right, then we're going to touch this in here. Can you see it? So there it's there. So we know that cable, let's zoom out a bit. We know that cable is coming round here, down here, and into this plug. And this one up here, this is the one at the side airbag. We'll touch that one. Let's get this in my other hand first. Right. Hold that there, and here, and there it's there. So that cable, this connector here is for both airbags on that side of the car, and this is what's breaking. And if I let you see how that's breaking, if I can push that up. So these wee clips clip on. It's clipping onto these two lugs as you pull it down. And that one there, the two lugs are broken because that other part of this socket is tight to there and it's pulling it and ripping it off, and it's stretching it a wee bit. Now, these are the cables for it, so they must be stretching in here. And I think what the spare cables might be for is to give this more room as it breaks, so it shouldn't happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave that, we're going to keep that tight, put it all back together again, and put this back. What I was intending to do was take all this wiring loom off, because this one up here goes right down round about this area here. You could actually just tape the wire to that there, put quite a lot here, put the A4 cables bunched up here so that when it breaks it moves and it won't put your airbag light on. So what we'll do is, I'll get out to Apprentice Pat's car, lift the seat up to see if that's broke. That connector there. I'll put that back on. Right, okay. This is Pat's car. What we'll do is put the seat back, I'll undo the 2 bolts. Plastic things on them. You're missing one as well. One out. That's 2. Now you want to put the seat forward. Out into the back door. That in there, eh?
Actually, you should be able to get them now, aye. There's plastic covers on them, obviously.
Alright, okay.
Surprisingly easy to take out, isn't it?
Now what you want to do is move the seat back, but be very careful. So we can tip it up. It's the steering wheel.
Eh?
Right. That's it there. That's the connector there, so it's not broken. That looks alright. But that cable is tight.
Is it?
Aye. It is tight, that cable. I'll just try. There you go. So that's it there. So yours is still on. I'll just put that back round there. Put it back in.
So the source will probably coming from that connector?
I think so. Let's see if we can get this back in again. So that's even tight to get that back in. Good grief. Right, that's that. So if you look at me pulling that down there, look how tight that cable is.
Oh, aye, see
Yep.
it now, aye, in there, aye.
Aye. So I could easily rip that off.
Aye. So the electric motor in the seat would be able to do that, no bother?
Yes. And that there looks as if it's supposed to go up there. Like that. Yours is a wee bit more straighter than mine, that cable there. Right, so it's not broke, so... Right, so that's that. In fact, we should have just seen if the airbag light's on. Which probably will be. We did disconnect it.
Aye.
During the Edinburgh. That's me. Your mods.
So, even disconnecting there, it never come back on.
I thought we need a clear default code.
Yes.
Interesting.
Right, so that's us back in, all connected. Battery connected. Do you mind getting out of the road, Spock? Now, it might have a low battery here. Let's see if our airbag light comes on, which I half expected to come on. So there he is. We'll give it a start. So it's out.
That's what it's supposed to do there.
Aye. So that's fine. So that's us, seat back in again, wires all in. We've had a look underneath, as you can see from the wee boroscope, and can't really see very much for that, but we've checked on Prentice Pat's car. His wee bracket's not broke. So I'm no further forward. I haven't installed the cables. I don't really see the point of doing that, because it's not going to make that much of a difference. Based on what I've seen. So we'll maybe come back to it another day. So that's us for now. See you in the next one. Cheers.